ABUC.TV.
And welcome back to day 2 of the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships, live from the Coolangatta Beach here on the Gold Coast. I'm Max Stenstrom. I'm joined in the commentary booth by Oakley Rynan. Good morning, Oakley.
Good morning, Max.
Who have we got for Game 2?
Game 2, we have Wagon coming out versus Greek Wedding. Wagon obviously being the premier Newcastle team. Plenty of experience there. Greek Wedding being a bit of a pickup team from Brisbane. Majority a team of youth, bit of experience. A few people have played nationals, but I think it's a bit more of a let's come out and play some fun frizz.
Both teams probably very different in what they were trying to get out of this weekend, as you say. Greek Wedding here to have some fun, get some sun, that kind of thing. Wagon, the core of this team is the same as the mixed team heading to World Clubs later this year. They've got a few pickups for this weekend, but nonetheless looking to build on those connections and get ready for some seriously elite competition in July in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the United States.
Looks like we're going to have Wagon coming out on defense there. John Greenfield with disc. He pulled out some big moves on the dance floor last night, Maxie. It's probably why he needs to do a couple of stretches there just to warm the legs up.
Well, those old legs, the ripe old age of 63, John Greenfield still running around on the field like a young man. Can't be stopped, can't be slowed down.
He'll probably teach these young boys a thing or two as well.
Oh, he will. He will. As soon as he hears that we're making fun of how old he is, he'll step up and deliver a play, as he always does. The man is ageless.
And he goes out there and he impresses every single time he's on the field, so I think we can expect big things from him today.
Very much an emotional leader of this team.
So Greenfield with a big pull. It just sails out this close sideline at the end zone, being picked up by Kim Wong, and she's elected to brick that. Bit of contention as to where the brick mark occurs on the field. Finds Gaunt on the under. Wants to dump it off to Hudson, but Greenfield with a strong mark. Finds Goebel. There was a foul called, I think. Greenfield just kicked Goebel on the way through there. Goebel with no options there at the moment and finds Grace. She needs a cut. Goebel gives her a dump. Wong provides a nice under. Good grab. Steadies it, wants the throw. Puts the around backhand, and Gaunt manages to get there. But he can't toe the line, and it's now with Wagon. Greenfield busts it deep.
Stoddard's throw well out in front.
And Greenfield turns around and gives them the look like, what was that, mate?
He's
what
like,
was that?
Lefty, do you know how old I am? Do you really expect me to run that fast, that far? It's not happening.
Everyone loves a little bit of cheeky banter amongst friends. Hudson going to be picking up the disc now for Greek Wedding. Greenfield on the mark. Greek Wedding electing for a vert stack down the field. Not many options coming through. Looks to dump it. The dump was very tight. Didn't really get much width there. Overthrows Grace, and Cortez gets the D.
Picked up by Pline. She's looking to get it done quickly. She's 2 meters out. She looks for Cortez, but it's a little far in front despite Cortez getting off her feet. But there'll be a bit of a chat. Uncontested foul call. Cortez will regain possession of the disc, but she'll have to take it back to the front of the end zone. Play will restart. Pline goes up line. Greenfield's there as well. Juggles, bobbles. Out the side. Can't hold on.
I think Hudson managed to just get a hand to that one, and it just tipped it enough that couldn't be caught by the Pie Wagon receiver. Has gone in the middle of the field. He wants to get rid of it, but then there is a discussion between Hudson and Greenfield. I think a travel might have been called.
May not have established his pivot right at the correct spot on the sideline. And Greenfield will call it back.
There we go. Disc is in. Does the same thing. Finds Gaunt to Wong.
But
Bit
she
of a
can't hold
low
on.
Throw.
Stoddard immediately with that high release lefty backhand to Michaela Pline. No mistake the second time round. The difference between that first shot into the end zone that didn't complete and the one that did was a lot less traffic in the same area, making it a lot easier for the thrower and for the receiver.
Greek Wedding showing that they still have some really good options downfield. They managed to get the disc very close to their end zone. They just couldn't quite seal the deal. So let's hope they can continue playing like that throughout the weekend or throughout this game, and they'll be able to definitely get a couple of scores on the board.
Pie Wagon are one of the more established mixed clubs in Australia. It's great to see them continuing that tradition and branching out into the beach format. Many of the teams here are pickup teams, one and done kind of teams that come together to play this tournament and that's it, which is great and is a lot of fun, but it's also really good to see the development of clubs as opposed to teams that have a bit of a legacy, a bit of a tradition, a bit of a culture that's able to persevere and persist beyond a single tournament and provide development opportunities for new players and opportunities for elite players to compete at really high levels like this Pie Wagon team will when they head to clubs, as I mentioned, in the States later this year. There's a bit of a foul call. They'll have a chat. And it looks like it'll be retracted, and the turnover stands. Pie Wagon with the disc. They're about 6 meters out. Doesn't like what she sees. To Stoddard, a round backhand to Seckhold. That's a nice throw.
Was a beautiful throw, but it looks like there might have been a pick call somewhere.
And it'll come back. Stoddard showing her throwing abilities, breaking the mark with the big pivot. It'll come back in, stall two, to Sinclair. Very experienced player. He goes to Seckhold on this near side. Beautifully timed cut by Stoddard. Getting the job done.
Pie Wagon with some very clinical offense there. Moved the disc nicely. Didn't seem to be too affected by the presence of Greek Waiting. Found the space, found the receiver, scored the goal.
That goal really the great example of the chemistry that having a club, an ongoing club like Pie Wagon can provide, in that the assist was thrown as before Stoddard had almost begun her turn. They were just so much on the same page. They knew the cut that was being made. As Stoddard turned blind over her right shoulder, meant that she couldn't see the thrower, but trusted them to throw it to that space, and they knew where she was going. And in the end, very difficult to defend, and it's a lovely goal for Pie Wagon as they jump out to 2-0.
Greek Wedding need to try and emulate some of that Pie Wagon flow on offense. They, in those first 2 points, got a little bit stuck and didn't have many options, so just need to try and look to find that flow.
Jonathan Potts with the forehand pull. Another, along with John Greenfield, another young up-and-comer bursting onto the scene in recent times.
Hudson just overthrows Chrissy Rowe there. Cortez gets a hand to it.
Well done to her. As the disc comes to the near side with Crosby. She'll go, looks back for Potts, but it's cut out nicely.
Gets the D there, Lemick. Doesn't really have any options though, but manages to find Wong in a dump. She pops up the backhand, has Rowe on the receiving end. She takes it nicely, pops it out in front to Lemick. Greek winning, draw blood, get on the board. That was some nice offense. There was some maybe a few questionable options. They should have maybe patiented themselves a little bit more, but it came off, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, Crosby caught a bit napping there on defense. I think caught watching the disc as opposed to watching their player that allowed that first shot to get off. That opened up a lot of space downfield.
That throw there from Wong to the deep cut by Rowe really opened up the field for them, gave them a lot of space to work with, and then Lemick just straight into the end zone for the goal. Something that they should be looking to do, using all their options, because they have previously been struggling with finding the space and finding the receiver.
Having said that, it's still early days, and some of these teams are probably still warming up, waking up. This is their first game of the day, I believe, so getting back into the rhythm of that as that pull lands inches out the back. And Greenfield will bring it up. He has Stoddard in the dump space, and they're setting up in the 2-3 horror. Seen a lot of. Stoddard in the middle. Big receiver, but he opts to come underneath. And launches his lefty forehand down the line, but it's a very small channel that he was shooting down, making it an easy defensive job.
Rowe picks it up for Greek Wedding, but Goebel just couldn't quite get there.
And Greenfield immediately looking to move it quickly. He reaches out in front. Great bidding effort.
Sam Gaunt, huge bid, full stretch layout, manages to just tip it enough so Pline couldn't get there. He picks up the disc and tries to bring it in quickly. Needs an option though, overthrows Goebel.
Holds on somehow.
Kucharski just manages to hold on to that one somehow.
Lands in his lap.
Finds Gaunt again on the far sideline. Oh!
Body's going everywhere. And Greenfield gets the block. I want to talk about Gaunt's layout down the other end briefly. Not only was it an incredible play, but he came from a difficult position behind
the receiver.
Behind Pline, and he does a great job to get the D without initiating contact. So credit to him, great physical awareness as well as great physical and athletic ability to contort his body around Pline, get the D without fouling. And that hammer from Stoddard for Greenfield really making him work early in this game.
We said that Greenfield would be working hard and throwing his body around, but his team's definitely doing it for him as well.
And this Greenfield-Gaunt matchup, one to watch.
I think we're going to see some big plays from that matchup there, Maxie. Gaunt brings the disc in, has Kucharski, but
Stoddard! The layout from behind. Unlike Gaunt earlier at that point, not able to avoid contact.
A lot of contact on that one.
They've called the strip. They'll have a chat about it. Stoddard covering a lot of ground with his big stride.
He had a very big, very quick closing speed there. Kucharski did have the under, but Stoddard just made up that ground and then threw his body out at it.
Retracted call. Stoddard with the disc. There you go. That's the kind of resolution we like to see. That's great spirit. Sharing each other's perspectives and trust in the opposition. As Stoddard to Stoddard, the honey pass on the doorstep now. Goes up line despite the best bidding efforts. Finds the mark with Coombe.
Good bid there from Goebel. Thought, why not? Chuck the body out. If you can tip the disc, that's exactly what you need.
And often just having that body flying past is enough. Even if they don't get contact on the disc, it can be sufficient in terms of making the receiver think twice or get distracted, lose focus just for a moment.
You can see it happen actually quite often. It just distracts the receiver enough, gives them a little bit of a fright, and then they might fumble it as they're thinking about what's just happened.
Yeah, they go, what is that body doing flying past me at ear height? But insufficient that time. Coombe cool under pressure. And Wagon take it to 3-1. And Potts in his beautiful orange tutu on the field. There's been a lot of discussion of the new uniform policy that AFTA's been putting out regarding jersey numbering and jersey logos, etc. I'm not sure what the AFTA policy is on tutus. We'll have to check whether they're compliant, but we'll have to get back to that a little later, as Potts with the big forehand pull cannot keep it in, and that's another brick.
We've seen a few bricks this game, Max, and interesting, in the stream earlier this morning, we made comment about how little bricks there were, and yet Potsy and a few others seem to be bringing it back and showing us, no, it's fine, we can still brick the disc.
Yeah, it's the commentator's curse. As soon as you say something's happening a lot or whatever, the opposite does occur.
Hudson bringing the disc in for Greek waiting here. Puts a backhand up to Callum. Hudson down the line. Oh,
Hand
Hudson
block, but recovered.
saves that one there.
And another hand block. Jonathan Potts winds back the clock, starts running deep, changes his mind, picks up the disc, has Sinclair hustling in space, the forehand out in front. Can he get there? No, he can't. Sinclair had meters, had separation, but the throw just a little too far. I think the blood was rushing in everybody's head there.
That was a great save on that down the line cut there from Hudson. Callum got hand blocked slightly, and Hudson got on his guts there and managed to keep that one alive for Greek wedding, but then unfortunately got hand blocked himself.
Great reactions by him.
Throws it out, unfortunately, too far in front of Lemick, and Sinclair picks it up very quickly. Throws the beautiful inside flick to Seckhold to score.
The falling away, fade away inside forehand can't be stopped. He's like Dirk Nowitzki, but shorter and not Eastern European. Finds Seckhold for the goal. It's a lovely shot.
High Wagon stretch that lead out now to 4-1. Greek wedding still very much in this game. They're getting movement, they're getting turns, they're just not capitalising from it. If they can start to capitalise from those turns that they're getting off of High Wagon, there could definitely still be contention in this game.
Greek wedding that point, I think it's the first time we've seen it this game, opting for a field runner offence, often known as a German offence. Now it could well be known as the Greek offence, with one player in the centre of the field and two deeper players on the sidelines, working well in this 5-on-5 format to isolate that player in space, but then provide the next option downfield. Whereas we often see in beach, you can get that first pass off, but because of how difficult it is to cover ground, there's often not a lot following in terms of options as they immediately shoot deep.
Oh, Kucharski to Goebel. He just throws it out there over Goebel's head. Plenty of space to run onto. Beautiful throw, beautiful play. Nice quick goal there for Greek wedding.
Yeah, that was a great example of a great shot to a nice receiver in space, making quick work at that point. This game is well and truly alive.
High Wagon only up one break at the moment. Score is 4-2. If Greek wedding can get this D and score from it, I think we'll have a good game on our hands.
Looking at this Greek wedding line, you got to say it's Gaunt they'll be looking to for that big play. We've already seen him make one incredible athletic layout block. Let's see if we can get another as he pulls. It's a shorter one. Ends up around midfield. They may opt to take it from the sideline, and they do. Stoddard with the disc. Doesn't like what he sees. Has to loft a backhand into space for Jess Stoddard, but it's a little too far. Doesn't sit with the wind coming right to left. It pushes it down. No float at all. And Greek Wedding get it back.
Gaunt's going to be picking up the disc for them. Probably be the anchor of their offense throughout this. He also has no dump. This will be interesting to see how this works. Threads the inside to Jeffrey. Finds Grace on the under. To DeDaunton. She needs an option. There's not much happening. Gaunt provides something. She throws the around instead, but just overshoots it.
Seen some interesting, innovative offenses from Greek Wedding, which I'm really enjoying as they shoot deep for Crosby, but she can't chase it down. A little too much juice on that one from Stoddard.
Gaunt to be bringing the disc again. Again, he has no dump. This is, I'd say, interesting tactics.
It didn't stop them before. They were able to get that inside flick to the front of stack.
Oh, outstretched Grace. Makes it look easy. To Goebel, but Stoddard just gets a hand on it.
They're now about 10 metres out. Stoddard with the disc. Very competent thrower as two players go for the break side. And now we get a pick call as things get a little jammed up in the end zone. That'll come back. They'll want to have one cutter going into one space at one time to make it easy for their throwers. Makes your life a whole lot more difficult if you're cutting into the same space as a teammate. Just getting more defenders and more bodies in one area means the likelihood of a turnover increases. Stoddard comes open side.
Goebel goes for the bid.
And then finds his player, Coombe, in the end zone.
Wagon trying to stretch that lead back out again, give themselves a bit more of a buffer. Greek Wedding had some good movement there. They just got a little bit stuck, a little bit clamped down on, and they just struggled to find their undercuts. Greenfield will be coming out with the pull for Wagon. He's been pulling nicely this game thus far.
We haven't talked about it much, but we're at a beach tournament, so we're using orange discs. Ultimate players in general are pretty notorious for how elitist they are when they come to the colour of their discs, for no real rational reason. They hate every disc that isn't white. People have been embracing the orange disc.
Yeah, that's right, Max. We've got the blue fields and the orange disc, so it's nice and easy to see in the live stream for everyone.
Sinclair comes from behind, streaming through for the, not the run through block, but the layout through block. Got to attack the disc, get those fundamentals right.
Oh.
And Seckhold.
Greenfield threads it through. There was a diving Callum, a diving Sinclair, and Seckhold just stands there and catches it behind everyone.
I don't think that throw was meant for Sinclair, but he for
tried.
a moment thought it was.
He tried anyways. No guts, no glory, Max.
That's right. You can imagine if he'd laid out, tipped it, and not held on. Seckhold would have had every right to be annoyed at him, ruining her opportunity to get on the stat sheet. Though she hasn't been short of those opportunities this weekend. She's been very dangerous in the end zone, providing a lot of opportunities for her teammates who are very competent throwers to hit her. Seckhold also very accustomed to beach ultimate, having played with the beach women's masters teams in in Royan, France, a year ago.
It's great to see so many of those beach championships, the World Beach Championships players coming out here on the sand in Coolangatta. Really helps lift the standard of beach ultimate in Australia.
In their natural habitat, we're seeing them flourish as that disc sails well out the back. Just talking about how well Greenfield's been pulling in these fields. Potts, perhaps the absolute opposite. Don't know if he's landed one in yet, but
Potts needs to rethink that pulling license. Might need that one revoked or have to try and sign up to get it again.
You know, but knowing him, it won't stop him from continuing to try.
Hudson bringing the disc in, just giving his team some words of advice about where he wants them to position themselves for this play. As it was a big poach.
Yeah, Coombe reading that very well. Saw it coming a mile off and just sags off the handler and gets the block. Back to Coombe now. He has Cortez. Will she get there? She has to get off her feet, but the throw is still too far. A real laser down that sideline. Could have benefited from a whole lot more love on that pass.
Disc is going to be brought in by Wong. Kaczarski as her dump. Greek Wedding opting for the 2-3 horror. They played Vert a bit early and they didn't seem to be finding the space as well, so let's see if this will change things up for them. Coombe with the poach off there again, attempting to do what he just did before. Dumps back to Wong. She wants the big under, finds Hudson.
Oh,
Bait.
blows the huck
Potsy.
over the body of Potts. All he can do is lie there and watch as the assist soars over his head.
That was a great backhand fake. Sold Potsy so many tickets to that show. He bid on that, went for it, and then just threw the nice backhand over his body on the sand to Lemick there for the score.
Can't fault his commitment in getting off his feet on the mark, but made a fool of.
Greek Wedding still in this game. They work hard. They can try and claw this one back. Goebel with the pull for them as they're going to set up their defense. Disc is up. Floats nicely.
Greenfield will move it quickly. Stoddart on this near side. He's got Seckel going deep. Opts not to throw it. Instead looks to Stoddart, who's going up line. Oh, now Seckel in absolute acres. Stoddart will hang one up for her, and she'll wait for it to fall into her lap.
And that's Pie Wagon taking half there.
Raced out to a 7-3 lead. That's half time.
Looks like the teams have elected to take a small break in between at half time.
Here at Beach Nuts, it's up to the captains to decide whether they want to take advantage of half time in terms of a break or just to mirror their positions and continue playing.
Greek Wedding obviously going to be coming in and having a bit of a tactical chat, talking about how they can probably just better their offense. They have so far throughout this game. They work the disc down nicely, struggle to find the space sometimes, but then they get to the end zone, get a little bit of end zone eyes as well, and overshoot their players, can't execute the throw correctly, and then have errors and turnovers, which Pie Wagon just capitalise upon. So they're probably definitely wanting to try and fix up those areas, fix up their cutting, find the space a bit better, so they can actually capitalise and score from the turnovers that they're getting.
I'd like to give a big shout out to one of our viewers on stream whose birthday it is. Happy birthday, Patrick Sparks, tuning in from Canberra. I know he was disappointed not to be able to make it up this weekend and be out here himself, but of course enjoying his 18th birthday nonetheless.
Happy 18th, party hard.
Knowing him, I'm sure he will.
Greek Wedding had a very small time out there, already back out on the line. Pie Wagon putting their line out now. Gobel's going to be coming out with the pull now for Greek Wedding. Pie Wagon sorting out what they're wanting to do on offense. The hands are up. Disc is in the air.
And Pie Wagon back underway. Klein with the disc. That was a nice pull. Making them work it from near the back of their end zone. But they showed no hesitation in looking deep. Nice read and attack of the disc by Wagon. But she's not able to hold on to it.
Jeffrey just with enough of tip on it there to get the D. Throws the big Gobel. He's got Grace underneath it.
Hayes.
And she manages to get it from behind.
Over the top of Tim Hayes. They're the equals in height, but he had front position, but it didn't stop her. That's a nice grab.
It was a great read there from both players.
Read it like a pamphlet to perfection.
Grace just managing to kind of keep position behind Hayes there. And as the disc sailed slightly over his hand, she then went up for the score. Much needed score there for Greek Wedding to stay in this game.
Still within striking distance at 7-4. And there's still 13 minutes left of play. So that's definitely enough time to get a couple of quick ones on the board. We've seen a lot of the games this weekend be full of momentum swings backwards and forwards. So there's no doubting the ability of this young Greek Wedding team to link a few quick ones together and make this a tight one. But having said that, Pie Wagon have been too good so far. Just generally taking the easy option when it's provided. And Greenfield shooting deep to Coombe. Daunt in pursuit. Does he keep that in? He holds on. They're going to have a discussion. No discussion at all. Coombe quick to give the disc back to Gaunt, despite the great play to hold on.
Gaunt bringing the disc in for Greek Wedding. Finds Rowe on the under. There might have been a call of some... No. Everyone just taking a second to set themselves. Wong on the dump. She needs an option. She needs a cut.
Oh. Trying to provide the bailout cut underneath, but it's a little too far for him.
Greenfield picks it up.
Big swing to Sinclair, changing the angle of attack. That's nice. On the far side, inside forehand, bidding Gaunt as he bids back against the momentum of his body. That guy is making some athletic plays.
He's going to get himself on the highlight reel, that's for sure, Max.
Through a combination of skill and will, he is trying to keep his team in contention and in touch.
Wong just misses the throw to Rowe there. Doesn't quite thread it through on the inside enough and throws it behind her intended receiver.
Stoddard goes back to Greenfield. Big swing to Sinclair. They've been very disciplined at using the width of the field. The forehand straight up the guts to Stoddard. She's about 5 meters out. Looking back to Greenfield. Greenfield has Coombs onto the break side. Working off that handler movement to open up an easier break shot down the field. That's some real textbook offense from Pie Wagon, showing their composure, their experience, their veteran heads. And Coombe timing that break side cut to perfection. Seeing the dump pass to Greenfield coming a mile off, knowing where he wanted to throw it and providing the open cut.
Coming definitely, we're more into the tail end of this game. I think we've only got about 10 minutes or so to go. I honestly thought that the scoreline was probably going to be a bit higher than what it was, so I think it shows the athleticism of both teams and the plays that are being made to keep themselves in the game.
Credit to Greek Wedding. They definitely, on paper, don't have the star power that maybe Pie Wagon does, the big established names, but they're taking it to them nonetheless, showing that in the frisbee game of scissor paper rock, sometimes youth and athleticism can beat experience and veteran status.
De Dorton with the disc to go ball. He doesn't have many options. Finds Kacharski on the dump with a little dinky step. Grace on the far sideline, down the line to Kacharski. Has Callum in yards of space.
Oh, Stoddard and the catch! What did he just do? Stoddard makes the incredible athletic block.
And tips it into Callum's hands.
The reactions from Callum to readjust after the tip by Stoddard changed the flight path. Incredible and exceptional. And that's what we're talking about. That's the youth and athleticism trumping the skill and experience and veteran status of Chris Stoddard. As he shakes his head and walks off, there's nothing else he could do. You can't fault him one bit.
Can't fault him. You'd have to be a little bit disappointed though, Max, that after even that great bid, you still couldn't prevent the score.
Yeah. Greek Wedding just walks up and goes, should have caught his D. It's that simple, Chris Stoddard. If you tune in and watch this again later, mate, that's a lesson for you. Got to hold on to them. But a great bid nonetheless. And Greek Wedding narrow the margin to 3. We'll also take this opportunity to shout out to viewers in the Northern Territory. Monique Langley-Freeman, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your support up in the top end. It's not a region of the country that is known to be a home of a lot of ultimate, but it's growing and it's a burgeoning sport in the Territory. So thank you for joining in. We look forward to more Northern Territory support in the future. Greenfield with the disc. Doesn't like what he sees downfield. Has to go to Potts on the around. Potts goes to turf but holds on nicely. He's got a player going deep. He shoots the forehand, arcing in hot. Can she get there? Michaela Pline can't hold on.
She was so close on that one. Outstretched hand. Just the angle of the throw wasn't very conducive with the angle of her cut.
No, that was another one of those hucks into space where the cutter hadn't turned into that space yet. And I complimented them earlier on showing us a nice example of that down the other end of the field, but they're not quite on the same page. Pline maybe not expecting that fat side throw. Probably or possibly an example of a lack of chemistry between Jonathan Potts and the rest of this team. He's not a typical Pie Wagon player, but he's picked up for them this tournament as they were short on numbers. Greenfield with the disc. He'll swing. Continue the swing. Crosby. Down that far side. Dump swing score. Take it out of a textbook, ladies and gentlemen. That was beautiful.
Pie Wagon slightly extend that lead again. Bring it back to 4. Score being 9-5. We've only got five or so minutes left of this game now. Greek Wedding definitely want to start turning getting the gears up a bit if they want to try and close that gap.
It's difficult though when Pie Wagon are playing such clinical offense. If you're a frisbee coach or student of the game looking for a perfect example of what the dump and swing can provide in terms of opening up angles of attack, that was it. The dump, the swing, and then the immediate shot up the far sideline. Meaning the quick movement of the disc sideways, meaning the downfield defender's suddenly way out of position and having a lot of work to do, making it easy for your cutters to get open for the continuation pass, which gains ground and in the end scores them a goal.
Stoddard with the pull. Coming in from this close sideline. Big arcing backhand. And the disc is just rolled out. Picked up by Norton. Looks like Pie Wagon's opting for a zone of some kind. Finds Wong to Goebel through the centre with a bit of contact on that. Back to De Dorton. Finds Goebel again. Got Lemick. and there is nothing Stoddard can do about that.
Now, I know they're called Greek Wedding, but they made that zone look like Swiss cheese, finding holes through it all the way up the field. It was a 2-2-1, 2 in a cup, then 2 midfielders with Stoddard patrolling the deep space. But consistently able to find gaps in that cup, swing the disc side to side, and eventually wait for the opening downfield. And it came, and they pounced. Interesting
Defense there from Pie Wagon. They hadn't pulled a zone out at any point throughout this game thus far. So I wonder what made them want to bring that zone out. It'll be interesting to see if they choose to do it again, given how much they just got owned on it.
Wasn't very effective at all, but perhaps they see this as an opportunity to get in the reps in terms of tweaking it, practicing it, refining it for some later games in the tournament.
Certainly in the later games in the tournament, when they come up against stronger teams, they might be finding that their man defense just isn't working, and the zone might be their most effective option. So get the practice in now and figure out all the holes, literally and figuratively, whilst they can.
Greenfield with the disc. Been saying his name a lot as he continues to do a lot of work for this team. Sekold, that's a textbook cut. She reaches deep for Tim Hayes. That is beautiful offense. And a great finish by Tim Hayes. The smear cut across the front of the field by Sekold, linking up with a beautifully timed deep cut from that far sideline by Tim Hayes. Pie Wagon showing that they know all the tricks in that textbook. They've showed us a dump swing score. They've showed us a beautiful offensive set play out of a Horo. And they've shown that they can play a zone. One advantage of having many, many years of experience across the team is that there's nothing really new for them out on a Frisbee field. They've seen it all before. They've done it all before. And they've got it down to a fine art as they did there.
Stoddard's going to have the pull there for Pie Wagon. Wind just picked up slightly just now. Pull drops short of the end zone, but goes for a bit of a roll. Gober with the disc. Doesn't really have any options, and now defense is set. Callum just manages to catch a disc out of a bidding coombe to row. There's not really many options for her. She throws the crossfield and Stoddard just brings it in.
It's a difficult shot back into the little breeze that we have. It pops up just enough for Stoddard to get involved. And they move it quickly to this near side to Pline. She'll go back to Stoddard. Looks for the continuation swing. Eventually finds it on that far side in the hands of Tan. Oh, the inside forehand. It's going to sit. It's going to float. Can Coombe chase it down? Yes, he can. Cleans up to scraps.
Callum just trying valiantly there to get the D, but Coombe just had the front step on him, and he just, even with the bid, couldn't get a hand to it.
And Pie Wagon inch closer to putting this one in the history books. With a 5-point lead, you'd imagine it's pretty difficult for the Greek Wedding team to come back and enjoy their day of matrimonial bliss. But you never know.
Hooter's going to go any minute now. So just have to wait and see who scores this next point to know what we're playing to. Greek Wedding just definitely have their work cut out for them right now, Max.
They do indeed. All the work to be done. Having said that, while they are a Greek Wedding, they're not big or fat. They're full of athletes capable of making plays, and we've seen them consistently do that all game long. So I imagine there'll be fireworks all the way to the end.
I think Potsy just landed his first pull for the game.
Oh, congratulations to Jonathan Potts.
But Greek Wedding just overthrow their dump and give it to Pie Wagon right on the end zone.
Potts picks it up. He's got Sekold, doesn't want it. Goes back to Cortez. Nice around backhand. Hits her
It's going to be a game to 13 now.
The hooter did go during that point, but nonetheless, the score cap is 13, so a game to 13 either way, as we said.
Just a little bit of contention with the score. Scoreboard says that this would now be 6-12, but the stream has that as game.
In the spirit of Pie Wagon doing what no team has done before, opting to play to 14. No, we're kidding. They've agreed to settle back on 12-6.
And still going to be a game to 13, but we're just going to play out one more point.
And that's a brick. That may have been Greenfield's first bricked pull. He's been copying pots, clearly, taking a leaf out of his book.
Roy with the disc, but there's been a pick call.
There was a nice pick and roll screen action there in the middle of the field. Unfortunately, this isn't the NBA Western Conference Finals, and this isn't the Warriors and the Rockets.
Oh.
This is the Greek Wedding and Pie Wagon.
Roy just overthrows the break backhand there to Hudson. Outstretched for it, but still couldn't quite get it. Greenfield picks it up.
Goes underneath to Stoddard. She goes down the line. Can she get there? Yes, she can. Michaela Pline puts the icing on the cake.
And
on the wedding cake.
Pie Wagon officially take it out now.
That's 13-6. It's in the books. Pie Wagon will not be denied. Some incredibly athletic plays from both teams, but the class and experience of Pie Wagon proving decisive in this one. Do stick around. We've got more high-quality ultimate action coming to you from the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships here on the Gold Coast.
Next up is our #1 seed House Party on their first stream for the weekend. So tune in for the next game to see some good quality ultimate.
Thanks for joining us. I've been Max Stenstrom here in the commentary booth, and I've been joined by Oakley Rynan. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Alti.tv